Welcome to the Zag Talk Podcast Live. My name is Guy Danoff, and I will be your host over the next 30 to 45 minutes as we go live here on the podcast. And this is a very special edition because we are going to preview tonight the SAM Leadership Conference that will be coming up in Kansas City, Missouri on June 15th through 17th. And I've got some very special guests with us. So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring them on. Let's bring on four of the presidents. I'm one of them. Let's bring on our next president, all the way from the great state of Maine. We've got Kayla McGee. Kayla, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm having a good time and glad that you're here. Last year, it was in your home state, right there in Maine, and I got a chance to see lots of lighthouses. So now you're going to be in Missouri in my backyard. It's going to be a lot of fun. So talk to us a little bit, about last year, what it was like, having everyone come to your state, because last year was an amazing leadership conference.
Yeah, so it was nice. So a few years ago, it was supposed to be in Maine, but due to COVID, it wasn't. It was virtual. So having everybody come here to see my state is pretty cool because, we're kind of up here and we don't really get seen. Some people think we're part of Canada, which we're not. So it was great for people to come and be really close to where I'm from.
Absolutely. So with that, let's bring on our third president from the great state of Indiana, Indiana State President Cassie Brooks. Cassie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to see you guys.
Great to see you. And I know last year we had a great time again in Maine. And when you reflect on that time, what was something that stood out to you?
Well, besides the beautiful scenery, of course, I really enjoyed just connecting with other leaders, figuring out what they do for success. Everything from like learning what people do for how to run meetings and how they structure their bylaws and delegate responsibilities and things. It was just really useful to hear from other people what they were up to in their states.
Absolutely. So let's bring in our fourth president. And again, tell you what, this is awesome because we're going across the country pretty far out. We're going to Arizona. And with Arizona's president, we got Laura Cox. Laura, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. And, what kind of stood out to you? I mean, look, you came all the way from the desert, all the way out to the lighthouses. It was so beautiful. The weather was amazing for that time of year, of course. And so, what's been happening since we last saw you?
Oh, a lot. Well, you mentioned all the beauty of being in Maine. I'd never been to Maine, so that was definitely an exciting opportunity. And then Cassie mentioned the connecting with everybody and having the opportunity to learn how other states do things. And that was something at Shape. Some of us got together again and had those discussions on how things are going. And it's always great to be able to see what other states are doing and how things are similar and how things are different.
Absolutely. And the four of us, it's kind of neat how we got together because we were predetermined. We were in a group as they broke us all up and we were all together at that round table learning at those breakout sessions. So it's kind of fun to see all of you again. And so I'd like to start out with is just our first question, because obviously tonight we really want to talk about the incredible value of the SAM Leadership Development Conference, obviously, coming up in Missouri. So let's start with our first question, and I'll direct this, Laura, right to you to start with. What has been the biggest thing that you learned at last year's SAM Leadership Development Conference that you are using now during your presidency that's been actually working for you or been effective?
I think it's using your resources, being able to reach out to your executive director with questions and not being afraid to ask others for input. There's something that just actually came up recently in our state that I wasn't sure how to approach it, and being able to talk to our ED and then also some people from our Arizona Department of Education. That's really been beneficial, is not being afraid to reach out to others and how they can help support you.
Absolutely. And Cassie, how about you?
I think something that stuck out to me was seeing what national resources are available to bring to our state members, and then just kind of looking at all of these different programs that are out there, what fits for us and how do others use them. You know, and then even just little things like how we plan conferences and how we like go about social media strategies for our states, like what people are doing and the day-to-day operations. For me, that was kind of more like some of the detail, like, okay, but how?
Right.
Oh, so you do it like, oh, I never thought about it this way. This is how I do it. Like, it was just really nice to hear from others who are in the trenches, just like me. And then now we have this awesome network that we can reach out to and ask questions. And when we run into trouble spots, that we know who to turn to.
Absolutely. And Kayla, how about you? What has been the biggest thing that you learned at last year's, conference?
I think I'll just reiterate what Laura and Cassie said, networking and resources. I think one of the greatest things was walking into Shape Seattle this year and being like, hey, I know you and I know you and I know you. And it's all because of SAM, right? All these people that I met at SAM that are connected with their state associations and being able to just use them as resources and ask them questions and not be afraid because we have that connection.
Yeah, and I'll say this, from being here in Missouri at MoShape, I think a few things that I really learned that I've adopted is number one is how to engage your board. I'm so blessed and grateful for the 3 people that spoke to us. Matt Mixer obviously was one of those people, but it was really interesting. And Cassie, you also added a lot of dialogue to that because at that point you were already president in Indiana. So you were just talking about the importance of getting engagement from your board. And I can just say this, that it's been one of my top 3 priorities as president is to hear from our board and to give our board empowerment to their ideas of what they want to do in their specific areas and just come alongside them and help them. So that's something really big. And number 2, I would say, are the resources. Like everyone on this call, you're all a resource. I know, Cassie, I've reached out to you from time to time on some things, and likewise, and vice versa. And I think, and Kaylee hit the nail on the head. It really is one of the great things about coming to the convention or the conference in person, so you can make those connections and start to, get to know and realize, hey, you're not on an island all by yourself, that there are other state leaders out there in the same boat that we are in some, to some degree. And so anyways, I'm just blessed that I was able to go last year and just to be able to learn from, everyone that was there, because I thought those breakout sessions were so key if you're definitely going to be a president-elect coming into this year's conference. With that, what we're going to do now is, Kayla, talk to us a little bit about last year, the fun part. I want everyone to know that it's not all work. There's actually some fun that happens. And last year, I have to admit, I didn't think much of it at first, but it turned out to be such a bomb, like a mic drop bomb. Talk to us about the scavenger hunt because it was fun.
Yeah.
What did you do? Yeah.
The scavenger was great. I'm sorry I couldn't participate with you guys and give you all the answers.
We still won.
I know, yeah. Go purple team. So I helped create this scavenger hunt that had to do with all different places and iconic, things in Portland, Maine, which for me was really nice because I was born in Portland, Maine, and it's only about an hour from where I live. So it gave clues to where these, places were, or these things were, and groups had to go and take selfies and then upload the selfies to the question and submit back to me. And whoever got the most right, got a little prize. And so we gave away some prizes from the state of Maine, like maple syrup and pins and
fantastic maple syrup, I have to say.
Honey. I can't even remember all of them, but we had some pretty great prizes that we picked up at a local store here in Maine.
It was so much fun just running around together as a team and going, wait, look this up. You go over there. Don't go down there and check. Go look down that way.
Or like, hey, we went there last night. We got to go back and take a picture. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Laura.
I was going to say, I was excited to see that they're doing it again this year and having that scavenger hunt. So when I saw the schedule, I was like, yes, that was the best.
I'm actually really excited to be able to actually participate in it this year.
Yeah.
Instead of knowing where everything is.
Yeah, you get all these PE health people, and of course we want to compete against each other.
Exactly. So what we're going to do, Kayla, so that you can participate, we're going to bring in this year's Master of Ceremony, And that's going to be none other than Missouri's very own Terry Garner. Terry, how are you?
I am great, and I am in proper attire for a scavenger hunt.
All right, let's go solo on you. Let me get rid of that for a second. Tell everyone what you're wearing because that looks pretty darn cool.
This is a barbecue apron that you're going to receive. Everybody's going to get one of these. And you have a boonie hat from Outdoors Tomorrow Foundation. And you must wear these on your scavenger hunt. That's part of the challenge. So you will be running around Kansas City learning about. Kayla started this, and it's an awesome thing. So we're going to continue it. But you're going to be learning a little bit about Kansas City. I will tell you there is barbecue involved in your scavenger hunt. And there are some kick booty prizes. Some have to do with barbecue. Some have to do with Gopher sports. And Gopher has provided some really, really nice prizes. So we're going to have lots of fun. We're going to continue the tradition with that Kayla started. And we're super excited to have everybody in Kansas City experiencing scavenger hunt barbecue style.
And we're wearing that.
And you're wearing this. You will attract attention.
We're going to be
in Kansas City.
I think I might have to break out the jean dad shorts and the
Yeah,
we're going to have lots of fun.
We are. And what's really cool is that logo was custom made. Matt had it made. And it was made for the Kansas City barbecue style. It was so much thought was put into it. It's even got the little state in there. It's out on our social media if you want to see a close-up of it. And before we get off tonight, I'll have something, to show that as well. But Terry, thank you so much for, modeling all this for us. I didn't realize the hat came with it.
Everybody
gets
the hat.
We get the apron.
Doesn't this look like a scavenger hat? I mean,
it does.
It
totally does. Exactly. So, wait a minute. We've got a comment. Let's see what we got. Brian DeVore says, oh, there we go. U.S. Games too. Hey, Brian, how are you, buddy? We're so excited that you're going to be here this year. We're actually going to be giving you a shout out in just a few minutes because we are going to talk about your session, which we're really exciting because it's a very engaging session. And we also want to thank you and U.S. Games for all your support because this is going to be an amazing event. And thanks for chiming in. If you are right
Brian,
now. Go ahead.
If I said that wrong, Brian with U.S. Games is the one who came up with the gift certificates. So he's got the prizes. Brian is
You just said
awesome.
it there. Yeah.
He's providing the prizes for the scavenger hunt. Sorry if I goofed that up, Brian.
Yep, he helped us out as always. Brian is so awesome. Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun there. So Terry, we just want to thank you for popping on again. Thank you for being our ZAGBOMB guest. And seriously, you're looking like $1 million. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah. You all will look like this too. Can't wait.
So excited.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, Terry.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly.
See you guys later.
Bye, Terry. We love you.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was Terry Garner, everyone. She is definitely from Missouri. And currently, she is actually was recently elected to the Shape America. She's one of their board members. So congratulations, Terry, on that accomplishment, as I know that they've started now getting together the board and the training and all that. So she's been kind of busy as of late, but not too busy to get the scavenger hunt going in full swing. So let's get back to our second question. And let's go right here. And that's going to be this. And this time we'll start with Kayla. Kayla, what advice would you have for the incoming 2023 president-elects?
When you show up at LDC, don't be afraid to introduce yourself to somebody. Get to know them. Don't always sit with the same person. Kind of branch out. Get to know other people. See where they're from. Ask them questions about their board and what they do in their state, and really make some really strong connections.
Absolutely. And Cassie, how about you?
I think one of the things that I was able to do there that I found valuable was as I listened to everybody, kind of formulating what my goals were as a leader and where I wanted to take my state, what direction I was heading in, and then what were some of the strategies specifically. I took a lot of notes, on what specifically I wanted to do, and not just these are the things that people said, but this is what I'm going to do in Indiana with what I've learned. And then kind of took some time also on the way back on the plane and just kind of going through those notes and making my to-do list from it.
Yeah, that's really solid advice. Laura, how about you?
Yeah, ditto what they said. I was going to say, definitely, again, that network, those connections, don't be afraid. I remember I was kind of scared going to the whole presidency thing, and LDC definitely helped kind of squash those fears because of the connections we made, talking to people. I took quite a few notes too, and then making sure you set time to go back over those notes and set your goals and keep reviewing those throughout the year, making sure that you're doing what you set out to do. So I don't have much else to add to what they said.
Well, I will add this because it did happen to me, and it's something I would say to the president-elects. If you get the opportunity, now granted, I was in a little slightly different boat because I was also a presenter, and there were some states that wanted to hear more about what I was talking about regarding media and how to use media. But I would take advantage when we would have lunch on our own or breakfast on our own, and I would go with people like Laura, you just said. I would go with people that I really didn't know before, but we had kind of common interest of trying to solve the same problem kind of thing. And it was great really getting a chance to sit down with them and getting to know them. And that was with some folks from Connecticut. I just can't forget those folks. That was great. And just a chance to bond. And that was the other big part of that. Like you said, Kayla, when you go to like the Shape America event, like I can say, wow, I know all of you, right? I mean, that was also really cool. And Laura, I know that when everything kicked off on that Thursday or the first night, I got a chance to know you and Matt right away. So at that mixer right away, I was just, no pun intended for Matt, of course, but I got a chance to get to know the Arizona crew, and that was a lot of great fun. And again, that's really the biggest advice. You've got to come in, you want to take notes, you want to get to know people, and so that you can build connections. Because once you get into the seat, like we're all in now, our presidency, they're live, we're up and running. And we've got a lot to get done in a short amount of time, as everyone on this call knows. So with that, let's go to our last question, and it is this: what are you most looking forward to at this year's SAM Leadership Development Conference? And I'll start with Cassie.
I think what I'm looking forward to most is I've seen on the agenda, there's some things about our leadership skills, like what type of a leader we are, and just always looking to grow and refine my leadership skills. None of us are ever going to be the perfect leader, but as we go about our leadership roles, kind of taking stock at what our strengths are, and then how we can work with the team that we have to get better and I sometimes struggle to delegate. And that's something that I learned well from Sam last year, is like really kind of empower people to take that leadership role. And, I'm still growing in that area. So I'm looking forward to kind of reflecting on some of those things and how I can improve from there.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Delegating. Wow. I think that's tough for a lot of type A people, and myself included. And that was one of the big takeaways I already said earlier, is being able to delegate. And, literally, you've got to be able to empower your board for this to all work and get the real buy-in that we're all looking for. Laura, how about you? What are you looking most forward to?
Well, I unfortunately won't be there this year. But when I looked at the schedule, as I mentioned before, the scavenger hunt stuck out. I was like, yes, they're doing that again. But then Matt Mixer's session, I saw that was on the calendar again. And that was definitely really helpful. The way he asked questions and allowed us time to interact with the people around us. That was super beneficial. Guy, your session on social media, because social media can be kind of a scary thing going into the presidency. Like, what what to post, how to post, how long, videos should be, and what's going to draw the attention that you want. So that was definitely something that I enjoyed last year and was glad to see those things again for this year.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to that. And also, I was slightly intimidated at the Shape conference when like 8 of you all showed up on my on my session. I was like, had a whole galleria. Oh my goodness, it was slightly intimidating, but the nice thing is I already knew you and I knew Matt, so I was kind of calm. But it was exciting. All right, Kayla, you will be also like me. You'll be a presenter this year. You're coming back to present and share some of the knowledge that you've gained along the way, particularly in the past few years. And what are you most looking forward to, other than obviously presenting your own session?
I would say, just meeting other people that I don't already know. I think we're seeing a lot of presidents like Cassie who are, coming back to become president and maybe repeating multiple years. So we might see some familiar faces. And I'm also really excited that I get to share this experience with my incoming president-elect. So we get to go together. But I'm also really sad that our ED is not coming with us. But I appreciate her willingness to help me get there this year. So really excited about presenting, really excited about making new connections and sharing the experience with my president-elect.
That's awesome. I can tell you this, really what I'm looking most forward to, and you'll see it on the schedule. There's a couple of new aspects because I've been on the planning committee for this, like you were last year, Kayla, in Maine. So it's been kind of exciting to be part of that planning committee. But there's been a few things that have surfaced in the past 18 months that we're going to add to the schedule. And part of it is going to be on a session that's going to be looking at how you can look at getting funding and grants. Carrie is going to lead a session on that. I know that I'll be doing a session with Tom Lowry on the financial aspects of running a state organization, a non-for-profit, and they'll be tied into a little bit of some legal things even. So I'm kind of excited to talk about that as we've been in some transition here in Missouri. But it's really exciting to see that we're growing and evolving the offerings here, with the leadership conference. So with that, what we're going to do now is we're going to bring on another ZAGBOMB guest, and she comes all the way from the great state of Montana, and that is none other than the SAM chair herself, Nancy Stock. Nancy, how are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm well. Thank you for letting me on here and listening to all you wonderful people say such great things about Sam. Appreciate it.
So Nancy, talk to us about, because I know, you're literally been putting together this conference for over a year now.
Yeah.
And talk to us about some of the cool things that's kind of unique to this year's, conference as opposed to others.
Well, we're hoping, last year, Portland, Maine, which was, by the way, fantastic. I loved it there. And I think we're hoping for more people to come this year because I think coming out of COVID, they was kind of wondering whether they were going to have the finances to do that. So we're looking forward to them coming. Kansas City, we were there in 2019, and I really enjoyed the place. I mean, we got to go to a Royals game, which we're doing that again this year on Friday night of the conference. I thought the people were wonderful. The food. I mean, I know that Montana says they do barbecue, but sorry, they got nothing on Kansas City. So, I mean, just saying, I fell in love with the side dishes. That was my thing. But okra done right, that was what was perfect. So
there we go.
I'm telling you. So we're just really looking forward to be the place we're having the conference at is really accessible to a lot of things outside of the hours. When we come to a conference, we love what we do, and we have some fantastic sessions this year. And that was because we listened to all of you say, what do you need from Sam? And so that's what we tried to do. And we have a lot of great sessions coming up, but we also have to have a lot of fun. I'm sorry, health and PE teachers are by and large the funnest bunch of teachers. I'm just saying. So we have to go find things to do. And like I said, the Royals game is up. We can go to the Nelson Atkins Art Museum if we want to. And like I said, where we're staying and having the conference is really accessible to a lot of cool places. So we're just excited to be there and see all of you. I'm glad some of you are coming back. It'll be good to see you again. You have so much to offer these new president-elects coming in. Even just after 1 year, there's a whole lot you can tell people. And, planning a conference is fun at best. And I was on the board in Montana for 17 years. I was ED 13 years. And planning a conference in your own state can be crazy, but try planning it across the country. And if I did not have my Missouri people, Terry, Guy, and Tom, my boots on the ground, I could not do this. So, and then the LDC committee has been fantastic too. So it's going to be fun. I think we're, fun and informative. And I think that, I really appreciate your comments about Sam, ladies. I really do. And Guy, I think it's nice to hear that. So thank you very much.
Well, Nancy, I think it's pretty apparent that conference impacted us in many ways. That's helping us now as presidents. Like I said, and I like what Cassie said. You can't get enough leadership development. It just takes years and years and years and years and years to do that. And think about the way it works here in the HPE world. We serve a 3-year term, or at least we do in Missouri. From president-elect to president to past president, and it's over in a blink of an eye. So just by the time you figure out what you're doing, then boom, you're past president. So we have to be quick learners, and we do need, as everyone on this group has said, we do need to be networking. We do need to really, find some people that we can connect with and really grow and learn from, because all I can say is I'm very fortunate for what Sam did for me last year, transitioning from the social media consultant to now being on the executive committee, to being the president-elect last year. That was quite a transition for me to wear so many more hats than just, worrying about our media and communications.
Well, that's why we do it. And that's so gratifying to hear. I mean, that's, we are states, and who better to learn from than your fellow states? I mean, I have learned from the time I started being an ED and coming to Sam, that's what made me a decent ED. They were the people that I learned from. And this Sam Leadership Conference has been the reason. And I've always learned a lot there. And the people, the resources, if you have a problem in your state, chances are somebody else has had it.
Right.
They've been through it. So let's talk, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So that's very gratifying to hear. Thank you so much, because that's why we do it. That's why we do it for our president-elects and our EDs. So much appreciation. Thank you.
And thank you for doing it.
Yeah, thank you. And my last question, Nancy, is this. There might be some people that are watching, particularly the replay. Are there still spots available for states if they do want to register for the conference? Where can they go? Can they just contact you directly? But I know you gave me a link, but it's too long. It's way too long to post.
I know.
So just tell us where, if someone wanted to get more information to sign up, or register for this, leadership conference, where would you direct them?
The quickest thing you can do is just email me, and I could put my email in the chat. That's the best thing you can do. I can send you the registration form. You can pay online, and then I can send you the hotel registration link also. So that's probably the quickest way to do it.
Okay, so with that, Nancy, if you just want to put it in the chat, I'll copy and paste it and make it available for everyone so they can see that. Because again, I know there's some space available, and we definitely, if someone wants to come, or maybe they forgot about it. I mean, there's so many different things going on, especially at the end of a school year. Because I can tell you the past 3 days for me has been insane, to say the least, including having a daughter graduating from high school and all the events she's involved in and all the stuff. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yes, I'm retired, but I remember those days well. And I'm one of those weirdos. I really loved those last days of school. I mean, there was just so much to do, and the kids were so excited that I really kind of missed that. So, but I understand totally the chaos that can ensue. I appreciate all your work, you guys.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this on there. So Nancy, there we go. Just email you at stock.nancy59@gmail.com, and Nancy will take care of you and get you all the information you need if you're looking to attend this year's SAM Leadership Development Conference, held in my favorite state, of course, Kansas City, Missouri. I know, the show me state, on June 15th through 17th. Nancy, we just want to thank you so much for your leadership and all the work that you've been doing for this year's conference.
Thank you so much. And we can't wait to see you in Missouri where we do LDC Kansas City style, everybody.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. There you go. That's how easy that is. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and take a sneak peek. I'm sure our viewers are wondering, hey, can you get onto the conference? Can we see some of the sneak peek? Well, let's start with it. So it's going to open up on Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30. That's the welcome reception and people registering to get in. And that was a great time. I know that I got a chance to meet and mingle with a lot of people, including Laura. Does anyone else want to say anything about the importance of getting there on that Thursday night?
Don't skip it.
Exactly.
Reception.
Right. All right. So then we kick off Friday morning. And of course, we'll have, breakfast on your own. And then, of course, we'll get the introductions and overview. And then our keynote speaker, I can say this, many of you probably don't know who Dan Mears is. He happens to be the Kansas City Chiefs mascot called Kansas City Wolf. And he has got a remarkable story. I heard him a few years ago when Terry Garner was the president of the Shape America Central District. That's when I got introduced to him. And I'm going to tell you right now, bring some tissue papers. You're probably going to need it because he's got a very riveting story. And just saying, we're blessed for people like him. That's to come and be our keynote speaker. All right. We got Brian DeVore chiming in. Let's see what he's got to say. There we go. I saw Dan speak at Kford a couple of years ago. Great story. Yeah. Thank you, Brian, for chiming in on that. Yeah. I'm telling you, Dan has got an amazing story. He will not disappoint. All right. Now we're going to get into kind of the mid-morning and we'll take a look at the schedule there. And Brian DeVore. Wow. Right on cue, Brian. How about that? Brian's going to be doing something on the opening, how he play on words there, connections, creativity. I know last year Brian did this and it was so much fun. I filmed some of it even. And so, Brian, anything else you want to, give us a sneak peek on? You want to give us a comment of something we can look forward to? We'll see if he responds there. And then, of course,
it's Brian. He's entertaining. Just
of course
hanging out with him is fun.
Well, I know. I mean,
Yeah,
but surely he'll have something important to say as well.
Last year, Brian, and a group of us went down to Becky's for dinner one night, and it was a great time.
Yeah. Yep. All right, and then we've got the certainly the National Academy of Health and Physical Literacy. That's going to be led by Charity. And then Shape America will be represented by Megan McCollum, and then Phi Epsilon Kappa will be Dave Lorenzi, and so that's going to kind of take care of them in morning. And here he is, right on cue. Let's see what we got. Brian says there will be ways for everyone to build connections between SAM participants and to take back to build relationships with your boards. That's what we love to hear. That's what I'm talking about. Brian is always delivering the goods every time. So Brian, thanks for that. Yeah, he gets it. He knows what this is about. I mean, he's a former teacher as well. He's been through it, right? He's been through it. All right. So then obviously there'll be a lunch. And by the way, the lunches are outstanding. I'm guessing there'll be barbecue involved in some of this. I'm hoping. I did not press the issue though. Now, you know what, Kayla, I'm turning this over to you because you were part of the planning committee last year. Talk to us about how this is now broken up. We've got the president-elects, the new executive directors and executive directors. Kind of talk to us about these sessions.
So funny that you asked me that. I actually wasn't a part of the planning committee last year. My executive director was, and then when the idea of the scavenger hunt came about, she asked if I would be willing to do it, and I said yes. So I actually was not on the planning committee last year.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Should have asked that ahead of time, but you know what, that happens. All right. So I can at least say this. I know that, and we experienced this last year, but what's really great is there are times when some of these sessions are for everyone. But then there are times, as you see here, they'll be broken up into 3 different categories where the president-elects will all get together, the new executive directors will get together, and of course, those that are a little more experienced, they'll all get together for sessions. And I know that we love what Matt had to do. So you got elected. Now what? Do you remember when he said that to us? I know, right? We're like, yeah, well, at least for me, I was a little nervous, and he kind of, he kind of played with us for a little while until, he was just great. That's all I can say. So that's going to be a great session. Deb Berkey is going to be handling, certainly introductions and Q&A about being an ED. I know Deb's really excited about doing that. I talked to her yesterday. And then, of course, this is going to be a really good one. This is something that's kind of new that Carrie's going to talk about. It's called Show Me the Money. Show Me the Money. Yeah, the Jerry Maguire reference. I love it. Thank you. A guide to funding HPE and physical activity. So she's going to be talking about some ways that our states can get funded. And that's going to be a great session. So like you said, there's some really good things that are be going on. And then what's that? And then what we're going to have is from 1:45 to 2:30, President Lex will be developing leaders and leveraging your strengths, part 1. And Cassie, that's what you were talking about. So, why don't you go a little deeper on that of why understanding your strengths is so important as a leader?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I love to do is connect people and motivate people and build them up to be their best version of themselves. I mean, that's what we do with our kids in class all the time, is just helping them to be their best version they can be. And I kind of realized that at the SAM conference in Maine, and was like, well, that's what I need to be doing. I need to build up these people who are just like me, going, I don't know if I really deserve to be here. Am I good enough? And but give them support and empower them, like clarify what it is that they're needing to do, but then letting them know that I have faith in them and I trust them, and just building them up and giving them the resources that they need.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. We took it to a step level this past year in Missouri when we had one of our board meetings. Tom Lowry, our executive director, had us all do Strength Finders 2.0. And it was really good to explain why those strengths are so important as you develop your leadership style, so you can align your strengths with your leadership style. And we found that to be very effective. I'm just giving you feedback from our board. So yeah, Cassie, you're exactly right as far as the importance of really knowing and leveraging our strengths. Then also during that same time, concurrently, there's going to be for new executive directors and executive directors, this is something new. It's what's about known as Nonprofit Status 101. That's actually going to be led by an attorney, of looking at what does that really mean? What are the legal aspects of being a nonprofit? And, how do you, a lot of questions sometimes can come up with, well, are you doing things in accordance to always remain, in compliance, right? So compliance is going to be part of that. So this is going to be a really exciting session. I can remember
that's really important, because I know
very
there's
important.
A lot of EDs that didn't necessarily start with a business background. And so for them, whether it was a former teacher who just recognizes there's a need and steps in to take over or whatever, it's nice to know there's some support there and the details that you really have to get right.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I've had a chance to meet Robert and talk to Robert, and I just know that he is going to really do some things that are very eye-opening, as well as for us all as state leaders, so that we can definitely be in compliance, but also, how we can, again, govern, our state through the nonprofit status. So we'll go to the next time slot, and that's going to be 2:45 to 3:30. Again, leadership skills part 2. And then, of course, the state level adaptive PE and initiatives. That's going to be done by Dave Lorenzi. And that's going to be also really exciting to get caught up to speed on what's going on in the world of adaptive physical education. And then the last part, and we all enjoyed this last year, so Lara, you can kick us off on this. Talk to us about the roundtables, because that was a lot of fun last year with the president-elects. I know the EDs have those as well. So talk to us about your experience of the roundtables and why you found it beneficial.
Well, I think we've already kind of discussed all the connections and how much it helps and all the sharing that goes on and seeing what other states do. And if this happens, how you can handle that situation, and just the roundtables just give you the opportunity to connect and talk with each other about specific things that you might be worried about or concerned about. Have ideas of ways to handle situations when they do come up and things like that.
Absolutely. And then to end it out, there'll be closing reminders and remarks. And then, of course, we'll be headed to the baseball game. By the way, they are playing the Anaheim Angels. I don't know about you, but to be able to see Shohei Ohtani, he's got to be the most famous baseball player on the planet right now. He's amazing. And wouldn't it be cool if he was the starting pitcher that night? That would be something special. If he was, I don't know if he is. I'll have to check the rotation as we get closer. There's also the art museum and, of course, some other fun things that are going to be done. As before we go to the next day, Brian Navor kind of chimed in. I love this. Brian says it also helps you delegate certain items to certain people that align with their strengths, which may be weaknesses for you. Yeah, that's exactly, I think, what Cassie was saying earlier. I know for me, it's the exact same thing. That was one of the first things that I did with the executive committee is kind of figure out how we want to divide and conquer based on our strengths. And that was something that was very much embraced and encouraged by Tom, our executive director. And it was really easy conversations to have with our executive committee for that. So, Brian, thanks for sharing that. All right, let's go to the final day. Here we go. We kick things off in the morning, looking at the school health resources. And then the next morning session, this will be all conference. And Terry and I are going to be doing a session called Ramp Up 2023 Exhibitor Management. So we're going to actually take a deep dive. And Brian, you'll enjoy this. Of course, some of the conversations we have, I'll probably share some of that. But this is going to be really good. It's going to be a way for everyone, whether you're a president-elect or an ED, to really think about maybe some newer approaches of thinking about your exhibitor management and maybe how you go about, trying to procure sponsors and how you can actually create more value for your sponsors. There's much more to that than what I'm saying, but that's going to be a piece of that. You'll hear a few case studies of those things that we've done. I know last year I presented on this related topic and I put it out there of what we are going to do. Now I've got the actual data to share with everybody. So if you want to know those results, you'll have to be there live in person. I'll be happy to share that with you. I'm not going to share it now, but it was pretty darn amazing. That's all I can say. All right. Then we have the scavenger hunt. The president-elects will get together. That is sponsored by Open and Outdoor Tomorrow Foundation. That's going to be a great time. And why we get to have all the fun, guess what the EDs are doing? Sam business meeting. Boo. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually what Nancy said. She's like, man, I'd love to be part of that scavenger hunt. So anyways,
but the work they're doing is so important too,
it definitely is, no doubt about it. Because the first thing when we got back after we found out our team won, I immediately went in to go see Tom. Like, Tom, how'd it go? What happened? Right, that kind of thing. So yeah. All right, then we get to the mid-morning, and that's going to be Laura. I'll let you talk about that because obviously it's a session I led. It's on digital media, and some best practices. But again, from your perspective, or even Cassie, because we've worked together, talk to our viewers a little bit about why this session, really can be pretty important.
Well, I mean, social media, it's where we're at. Like, it's what everybody sees. It's what, that it's so important because that's how we're going to connect with people, our members, anybody that we're trying to draw into our membership. It's advertisement, advocacy of what we're doing. So this was super important. I don't even know how else to say it. It's just, and everything you told us that I learned so much from you, at Shape, at the SAM convention, just learning about social media, things that I thought I knew some stuff, but there's so much more out there and how you draw people in. One of the biggest things for us that we've been trying to do is do more video.
Yep.
And trying to keep it under that 2-minute time mark. And because we know people don't typically tend to read a lot of everything. They'd rather just watch the short video clips to see what's going on. So as much as I hate being videotaped, I've been trying to do more of those as part of our advocacy and marketing. But yeah, social media, that's how we're going to connect with our members. So
absolutely. And for those of you who may not know, I'm a college professor. I actually teach this. I am 2 months away from defending my doctoral research on this topic. My topic is social media marketing strategies. I've done over 250 peer-reviewed articles. I've looked at best practices from so many industries, industry reports that I've had to do. I've co-authored 2 books specifically on this topic. And of course, before I was ever president, I was a consultant for MoShape as overseeing their digital media and outreach. So this is a very important thing. And I'm also very blessed to be part of the Shape America team and now the SEM leadership team here at this year's conference. I'm going to be helping a lot with media, very similar to the kind of coverage that I would do, and obviously, Cassie, that because I did the same kind of coverage when I was in Indiana. Obviously, I do it in Missouri, but I'm really looking forward to doing it here so we can get some of those good sound bites out there on some of the things that are happening, at that event. So, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Laura. Anything, Cassie, you want to add to that?
I think it's a really good time to kind of consider how your team can divide and conquer in ways that will engage with your members when you can't all be in person all the time. And you're even going to have members who can't make it to conferences or can't make it to your workshops. And we need to keep them engaged and have them see the value and be connecting them with new resources and ideas continuously and also pumping them up. So it's really kind of a neat way to think about all the different uses for social media and how it can really build up your brand and the strength of your organization as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I will give a massive shout out to Indiana Shape. I think you went about it the right way. She actually, in case you don't know, she actually spent 4 weeks with us. We invited her into our social media weekly meetings on Sunday nights, and she came from 4 consecutive weeks, took all kinds of notes. And at times we bounced ideas off her. Say, hey, what do you think of this? And Cassie would have some, big mic drop moments for us even, and giving us perspectives that we didn't have. But again, that's what we talk about, the networking and building and sharing. I don't have every answer, but I can tell you this. I network with a lot of states and trying to really pick their brains even on the things that are working very well for them. And then, of course, like all of us, how can we get better? And that's really what this is about. So it's not about, me just leading a session here. It really is about a collective learning from everyone that's going to be there. The only difference is I've just done a lot more peer-reviewed and a lot more, data collection that I can frame for people. In case you're wondering, I'll just give you one strategy right now. If you're a state and you're looking for social media best practice, number one is amplify anything related to your Teachers of the Year. It is the most engaged content you could possibly create and post. Your Teachers of the Year are your rock stars. And I cannot stress that enough. I've seen the data from Shape America. I've seen the data from MoShape. I actually saw part of that data even in Indiana Shape when you guys were doing those interviews, and the reaction people were getting when you were announcing who the award winners were, and then getting a chance to get them to talk for those 2-minute interviews. And so, yeah, I'm just saying that that's something you really should be doing if you're a state watching this podcast right now. All right, moving on. And then, okay. I know this is only 15 minutes, but it was fun. We have the swag swap. Let me just share this with you. You guys all see this hat? This hat right here, not this particular one, but a hat just like it. Last year I brought it. It got exchanged 20 times before it ended up in Kim Ballard's possession. Wasn't that a lot of fun? Anyone want to share a story? Because I know my hat got passed around 20 times. Finally, Kim got it. The only thing I told her, well, Kim, if you finally got it, then you've got to post a selfie with it and represent. So she did. But anyways, what did you guys think of the I thought it was fun, the swag swap.
I think it was really neat to see that not everybody brought the same type of item.
Yeah.
And it was a nice way to see what other people are doing in their states for marketing. They did the pins as well, which we don't do here in Maine. I wish we did, but it's costly. But we have stickers and pens and we did t-shirts and all those things. So it's really nice to see what other people are doing and how they're designing them. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. I'm just going to say that. All right. And then we have, as we're kind of wrapping things up in the afternoon session, President-elects, they're going to be having the partnership collaborations through advocacy. That's going to be a great session on that. And of course, concurrently, I'll be co-presenting with Tom on the financial issues for nonprofits. And like I said, that's something that was asked for by the SAM executive committee. They thought that was an important topic. It's something that Tom and I have been working with in our state, and also under the, working in collaboration on some aspects, even with Shape America. So I can just tell you that's going to be something really interesting that people are going to find. The record keeping, there's just so many different things, again, to be in compliance. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. So that's definitely, I can't wait to see how that's going to, go, over with the executive directors. I'm guessing there'll be some good questions being asked. All right. Then we've got the Kayla. Oh my goodness. She's got Kayla. You're talking to the whole committee. Excuse me. You're talking about the president-elects and the EDs. That means you must be pretty big time. So talk to us about your session. Give us a little sneak peek.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at personality characteristics and traits and different personality types, and just really looking about how that impacts your board and your leadership style, and how you can use your other board members to work on that strengths and weaknesses, and where you might fall short is where somebody else might be really good at, and how to again go back to that word delegate. You can't do everything, but that's why you have a board. So I think it really just wraps up, some of the other sessions that are going to be available to our president-elects, just making sure that, you're working with your board and not against your board, and you're using everybody that is willing to be able to support you.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to share this. You want to hear the hardest thing for me to do is when I went from consultant from 3 years to being president-elect. The day that I was announced I was president-elect, I resigned from my consulting job immediately. And then we appointed Chris Daly to take over as the chair, because that's what needs to happen. That's what we mean by delegating. Mm-hmm. That was hard to do in one sense, but it wasn't hard in another, because again, Kayla, to what you just said, this is what we need to do. So I don't really do all the day-to-day things with social media as much anymore. That's Chris Daly who does that. And he does a fantastic job with it. And also does on the Health Moves Mind side. We have someone that does that. Megan Baker does that for us. And so we've got a great team that does that. And yes, there's certain things I'll chime in on, especially video content. But that was something I delegated immediately, knowing that my role as president-elect was far greater than anything I could possibly do in media. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really glad that you shared that. And most importantly, I'm really glad, I cannot wait to hear your session as you really talk about, again, getting the board engaged. Yes. And yeah, that's going to be a great session. So looking forward to that. So that's going to be near the midday. And then as we wrap up, there'll be a chance for, I remember this when Matt came in and he had the Q&A for all of us. Yeah, it was kind of like our last chance to get those, writing down those quick notes as Cassie talked about, right? Anyone who want to add anything to that? Because that was really cool that we really had it. By that time, we trusted everybody. We're like, okay, no questions off limits. And Matt was pretty blunt. I mean, and he should be, because obviously with the roles that we're about to, be involved in, that we need that. So Laura, we'll start with you, because obviously Matt best.
I enjoyed this session. Anything, like you said, Matt's awesome. I'm very fortunate to have him as our ED, and you can pick his brain about anything, and he has solutions and suggestions, or he'll even post things in the question so this was, again, extremely beneficial for all of us to have the opportunity to ask those questions that have come out throughout the whole SAM LDC. And it was good way to wrap it all up too.
Yep.
I mean, we tell our students all the time, don't be afraid to ask questions, because chances are somebody else in the room is going to have that question or a similar question. So just be willing to ask questions. Because
that's when we're there together.
Yeah.
And that's how we can kind of help solve each other's problems and kind of work as a team and, come to better places for all of us as we kind of think it through together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's when I got a chance to kind of bond with Matt by that point, as then we started picking our brains on how we could work even more on the social media and amplifying everything that the SAM leadership group does. So yeah, that was invaluable time. And of course the EDs have their version of that. And then it all is going to wrap up in that final hour, as we're going to bring closure. graduation, pictures, recipes for success. Oh yeah, we'll be floating on cloud 9 and going back to our states and
Wearing the hats.
exactly. Wear the hats, yes. Wear the
Hats and
aprons, yes.
aprons.
Yeah, so
I
it's
feel like
all
I
I'm
need some
talking about.
tongs to go along with that.
Yeah, and there it is. In case you're wondering, that is the new logo you can see right there. And of course, there's Terry doing her best Vanna White impression right there with the apron. She got the hat. Of course, she's got to throw in the grill, which, by the way, that's a very big grill, by the way. And I just think she only lives with her and her husband. So I'll have to ask her later about why do you have such a big grill? My guess is that's got to be where all the family comes, a few times a year. So makes sense why they have that big grill, because that's way bigger than my grill. So with that, so we'll bring everyone back in. We'll even bring in Nancy because she is still in the green room. So let's bring her back. So let me just change screens here really quick. There we go. Let's bring Nancy back. And there she is. Hey there. So Nancy, I think it'd only be fitting for you to give us all the final word. And before you do, give you a chance to think. I want to thank Kayla. You've been a blessing tonight. I love your energy. Can't wait for your session. Cassie, what can I say? You and I have gone through a lot together. We've grown a lot together. You've been a mentor for me, and I know to some degree I've been a mentor for you, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Laura, again, it's just been great getting certainly to know you and work with Arizona and also working with your state in some media perspectives, and certainly with Matt. And Nancy,
Yes.
we bring it home to you. You get the final word on the
Well,
Zag Talk Podcast Live. Wrap it all up.
I am really grateful to be here, and you guys are shining examples of why we do this, and I couldn't be more proud. The president-elect class of 2022 is something pretty special. Our mission is to help our states. That's what SAM is about. We are here to help our states, bring them ideas for new resources that they can use in their states. Our main thing has always been what's best for our students and what's best for our teachers, because we need to worry about our teachers and what's best for them. What can we do that's going to make things best? What can we bring to our people at LDC that will help them achieve that goal? And it's really gratifying to hear you guys talk about what you did learn. I took a whole page of notes about what you guys said. So very much appreciated. Kayla and Cassie, I'm glad you're going to be there again. Laura, we will miss you very much. And Guy, your help during all this has been fantastic. So the LDC committee has really stepped up this year. So anyway, I'm excited to see everyone. I can't believe it's only a month away. Just yesterday it was, okay, we got 2 months now, people. And, all of a sudden. So anyway, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And see you in Kansas City, everyone.
All right. And if you're wanting to get more information, there's still time available to register. Just go to stock.nancy59@gmail.com and Nancy will hook you up with all the registration info. So there you go. If you want to get involved, there's still space available for those executive directors, certainly for those president-elects. And if you're a president, I don't know, maybe even negotiate with your state like I did. I'm just kidding. I didn't have to. But I just want to thank everyone again for a tremendous podcast. And this was just great to be able to highlight and preview the amazing things that are about to happen 1 month from today. Yes. So with that, for all my guests here on the Zag Talk Podcast Live, I'm Guy Danoff. We want to thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast as we highlighted the upcoming SAM Leadership Development Conference on June 15th through 17th in Kansas City, Missouri. Thank you and good night.
Thanks, everyone.